Hi. Hello, hello. It's Hemalayaa here. I'm on the Embody Sisterhood page as well as on my business page, and I wanted to jump on today, and I've got a special guest I'm super excited to share with you, Crystal Gray. And yeah, before I bring her on, I wanted to invite you to take a deep breath in. Deep breath in, deep breath in, deep breath in. Exhale out of the mouth. There has been a frenzy happening, yeah? Yeah, lots of different changes, and we've got, warnings and this and cautions and all sorts of things swirling. And so this is a time to absolutely be in touch with your true self. So take another deep breath in and let that breath go all the way down into your belly button. Connect it in. This time we're going to hold the breath here. Take more breath in. Hold. And vibrate. Now vibrate, 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 vibrate. Hold, vibrate, contract everything, make a funny face. And like, stretch out the mouth. Flubber the lips. So at these times, when shit's hitting the fan, when things are moving, when, viruses are flying, this is the time mostly when I invite you to be in your body versus disconnected and out there or in our heads. This is the time where your true self is calling you inward to hear the truth and to be really connected with that versus that. And not to take away from, of course, we want to take precautions and things like that, but we also want to stay heart-centered. So this is what we're going to be talking about today, this and a few other things. Hi, Yasuko. Hi, Lori. Nice to see you here. So I'm going to bring on Crystal in just a moment. Actually, let's bring her on right now. Welcome, Crystal, here. Crystal Gray. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm so great. I'm so happy to have you on. So Crystal and I got to have an awesome conversation just last week, was it? Last week?
Yeah.
On her incredible group that she leads. And she's got a business called Yoga Goddess Academy. And Yoga Goddess Academy is something that she is leading and creating. Crystal's been helping yogis turn their passion into their dream business, in fact. So this is like somewhere where there's a gap, right? Or the side hustle. And she's been doing this since 2013. She loves building confidence in newer yoga teachers so they can join her mission in rising up, using their unique voice and making the world a healthier, happier, and more compassionate place. So welcome, Crystal. Woo!
Yay. Thanks so much for having me here. After our conversation last week, I was just like, how can I talk to her again? That was so fun. And you're the only one that's made me almost spit out my water on my computer. So I'm always going to remember that. So thanks for that.
That's awesome. I might actually add that to my bio.
Definitely you should.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So awesome to have you here. So I'd love to hear you in your own words share about the Yoga Goddess Academy. Like, first of all, I love that you've got goddess in there. That's something I've been feeling strongly right now, like goddess warriors. And this is why I wanted to share this with my Embody Sisterhood group. This is where we're at. Yoga goddesses, it's time to rise. So I'd love to hear from you why you chose that title, that name, and what it's about.
Well, I actually, so I've had this business since 2016, and that's whenever I named it. So it was a little while ago, and it was right before you saw Goddess everywhere. And the reason why I chose that name was, yes, it had to do with the divine feminine, but that part actually came later. And it was like, oh, that's why I named it Goddess. Okay. It kind of came later, but I really listened to my intuition in naming it. And another reason why I named it Goddess, besides just listening to my intuition, was in my group, yes, it's about yoga, but it's also a lot about anything that people are using to deepen their spirituality and deepen their awareness of themselves. So this could be I just had a conversation with somebody yesterday about nonviolent communication, for example. Like that blew my mind. It was awesome. But we use things like crystals, meditation, which is yoga, but essential oils, all these different things that can really open you up to your spirituality, because I take a very non-dogmatic approach. And while I love yoga, what it's really done is opened me up to so many other things. And I think sometimes we can get stuck in, hi, I'm Crystal, I'm a yogi, and that's what I do. But I like to be open to whatever it's going to lead you to next, because everything's going to lead you to a deeper level of understanding.
Yeah, totally. I love that. And the truth is, like, for the word goddess, it's in the Sanskrit word we say Devi, Devi. And there are that we are goddess like, right? Like we have this ability to be goddess like. And we have these archetypes living inside of us when we wake them up. And that's the path of yoga, right? Like the path of yoga and embodiment is to wake up these divine beings that are living inside of us that are also part of us. So yeah, that's awesome that you I know it's been like a whole fad now, right? Everybody's like goddess this and goddess that.
Well, then I had to name my book something about goddesses too. So now it's like all goddessy stuff. But I think the other reason too, Himalaya, is that I always felt like I was kind of like a tomboy. I never really, so it was hard for me to resonate at first with that goddess energy. And I think that that's what drew a lot of women into the Yoga Goddess Collective, my Facebook group, was that they kind of resonated with that as well. They weren't like these perfectly put together, although I did curl my hair for you guys today. But, normally it's like in a bun and, I've got sweatpants on or whatever, but it's just that to let everybody know that even male or female, we all have these energies within us, and it's okay to let that show in whatever we want to, however we want to show it, right? It might not look like everybody else's. I cuss like a sailor. Would like a goddess do that? I don't know, but this goddess does. So
that's so funny. I'm definitely a belcher, and I totally resonate. I was a super tomboyish girl. I actually thought I was supposed to be a boy. Like when I was really young, I literally was like, I think I was supposed to be, and like we get the little baby hairs on our chest. I was like, look, I've got hair on my chest. So I totally get it. Yeah. And the divine feminine is what's awakening in all of us. There's the divine masculine, there's divine feminine. And we have been really, like, women have been rising. So there's also that whole thing around, we've been doing it in a masculine way. So there's also like this edginess and this, like, we think that to succeed, we need to be like this. And 100%. The way that I'm also teaching and leading and practicing in my own life is, oh my God, we get to be soft, like not weak. We get to be soft. We get to be receptive. We get to be like vulnerable, and that is powerful.
And honoring yourself, right? And honoring your rhythms and your cycles. And that was like a huge thing that I learned about not always pushing. There's a time for that. And I feel like with different cycles, whether it's with my flow or it's with the moon, there's times when I feel like I want to be live streaming all the time and I want to be out there. But then there's times whenever I feel like I don't want to get on Facebook at all. And you have to be okay with that, because you're going to be able to show up so much better whenever it's time to, rather than if you're pushing all the time and like, hey guys, I'm live streaming because I have to. I mean, how inspiring are you going to be, right? If you have to do that.
Yeah, true. And it's actually getting in touch with your purpose and your inspiration versus the have to doing and the like, I gotta do this because, and that's the masculine drive that doesn't belong in our bodies. It works for them. It just doesn't work for us in that way. So let's see if this works. Oh, yay. So I'd love for you to share about your personal journey with yoga, like why it's important to you.
Oh, geez, where do I even start? All right. So I started yoga when I was probably around like 22. So this was, to date myself, I don't know, it was like around 2003, let's say. Around then is whenever I started doing yoga, but I wasn't super serious about it. Once I started going, and the reason why I started going to yoga was, I don't really know, honestly. I was like, that looks kind of cool. It was just always like a little seed that had been put in my mind. Like I went to one class in high school where I laughed the whole time. And now looking back, I feel so bad for the teacher. But like the friend that I went with, that's how she was. Like she was just not going to take it seriously. So now whenever I have students in my class, I'm like, it's all right to laugh, and then they stop laughing because I told them it's okay to laugh. But why I kept doing yoga was because I felt it made me feel a certain way, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And I knew that it was helping me to work through my stuff, right? I don't know if we can cuss on here, but working through my stuff. And it really helped me with my addiction. So a couple years before I was doing yoga consistently, I was addicted to meth and coke for about a year, really bad. And I definitely could have died. It's in my book, Goddesses Part 2, but I definitely could have died a couple times. I mean, I think a lot of us probably could have died a few times, but it definitely was not my time to die then. And then I really struggled with alcohol and cigarettes for a long time. And so my yoga practice has it didn't help overnight. It wasn't like, oh, I do yoga for a year and now that's completely gone. But it helped me to start peeling back the layers. And it also helped me to start to love myself. And finally, once I feel like I could really kick the addictions, like the alcohol and the cigarettes, more whenever I didn't feel guilt or shame around it anymore. And I felt guilt or shame for so long because what type of yoga teacher would drink and smoke cigarettes? Like, I can't help anybody if I'm doing that. What a loser I am, right? I'm not perfect. I can't help people. And once I started to realize that you don't have to be perfect, and I started sharing all of my imperfections with people and being like, screw it. I'm just going to share my imperfections with
because
people.
You can really inspire other people.
Yeah. And I think maybe we talked about this before, but I think a lot of times, and especially in the patriarchal way, we have these gurus that we put up on these pedestals up here. And lately some of them fall off of these pedestals. And then as yoga students, that's very disheartening. Like, what do I do now? Like my guru is not who I thought he was, right? Yeah. And so for me, I'm like, I want to start down here and let you know all my crap. So the only way I can go is up. And if you say, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were an addict, I'm like, well, I told you that a long time ago. So if you don't like it, then you can just keep going. But I just feel like the more we can share our imperfections, yes, the more we can inspire other people that they don't have to be perfect either, because nobody is. They act like they are. It's a lie.
The truth is, like you were where you're at right now. We're never going to be some perfected thing inside of our head. And I love what you just shared, because this is what we end up like. This is why I'm so happy that I'm sharing it here. Some of the stuff that we would talk about in the embodied pathway is when we go into beating ourselves up. Like, so here's what happens. We're on the self-actualization path. We're on the self-realization path. So it's not for us to like find these things and go, oh, I'm beating the shit out of myself now. Oh, I got that wrong, or I'm getting it wrong, or I'm failing. It's actually to go into awareness with compassion. So I love that you have compassion in your bio, right? Like truly, like it is about living a compassionate life with yourself too, right? Like we're not here to beat ourselves up. And sometimes when we're growing up and maybe those voices of perhaps our own parents or some other authority planted into us some more criticizing inner voices. And so now it's time for us, that's part of our awareness, to gently bring us into like those spiritual parents, those inner voices that are actually cheerleaders for us versus like, so when you were smoking and teaching yoga and like that was the beginning of your journey, you, instead of going like, fuck, you're getting it wrong and all this, like you're screwing up, it's like, oh, okay, let me just share where I'm at, and share. And I'm sure so many people related to where you were at. You didn't look like you were some, and that you're right. Like there's this whole old thinking about gurus and teachers. And look what's happening. I mean, even with Yogi Bhajan right now, I won't even get into that whole thing. There's a whole fall happening around that, and truth's coming out.
Ooh, I haven't heard about that.
Yeah, I mean, you'll go down a rabbit hole.
It's just a shame because it makes yoga look bad, and it's like, that's not what it is, and for me, I want to help everyone tap into their own guru. I'm no guru. Himalaya knows she's not, but we're both doing the same thing, is to help embody women specifically to know that they're their own guru. They are a goddess, right? In their own right.
Yes, absolutely. So what inspired you to teach?
Honestly, I think that was really the first time whenever I listened to my intuition. And I've heard a few people that kind of had this other similar story where it's like, I went to school for all these different things. Like I wanted to be a nutritionist, and I wanted to maybe do like fashion, and then I want to be like a personal trainer. So it was like, I never
relate right now. Like, I'm sure, right? That we just have wanted to, like, I think there's also a thing in the yogic scriptures. Actually, it's in the tantras, the Kama Sutra, even 64 arts. It's like all about refinement. So I just was like laughing about that because it's true. We wanted to do everything. So
yeah. I was very interested in a lot of things. I'm like, how do I choose one thing? Well, finally, I don't know. I just started going to yoga, and I was like, I'm going to become a yoga teacher. And I'm so glad that I did it when I did it, because it really was before it was as huge as it is now. I got certified. I started my certification in 2005. So now I'm at an amazing point where I can help all of these newer teachers, because what I've recently found, I do run my own yoga teacher training programs, but what I love doing is helping people that have already went through teacher trainings to become the teachers that they wanted to be when they signed up. Whenever you're signing up for teacher training or something, signing up for some sort of certification, you've got this dream in your mind, like, and maybe you don't admit it to anybody, but you've got a little dream in your mind of this person that you could be once you get the certification, and then it doesn't happen, and you're like, oh, I suck, I can't do this, I'm not good enough. And I'm like, yeah, you can, and I'm going to help you to do it. And I've done it a lot. And I found that is my superpower, is giving women confidence, because you can lead a great yoga teacher training, but if you don't give them confidence in themselves, having all the knowledge in the world isn't going to make you be able to go out there and teach. So that's where I like to fill the gap.
Yeah, and it's like really about us being liaisons for women to find their own confidence, right? Like we all have it. I have fallen on my face so many times.
Totally.
I was definitely not like, I want to say we were all born with confidence, and then somewhere along the way it dwindled away, or it was chipped away, or we left it behind, and it wasn't safe for us to be our great, fabulous selves. So with Crystal's work and the embodiment pathway, Crystal does actually trainings for yoga teachers to step in to teaching. So I'll have you talk about that in just a moment. But like with your own confidence, it is inside of you waiting for you, just so you know. And when we forget, like, it's not going to be like, found it, nailed it, it's here forever. It's like we're going to fall off a lot.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing about yoga and the embodied pathway, is like, we're going to smash our face in the wall. And like, look at what's happening right now, guys, ladies, like women, all the world, like we are in a frenzy right now. Like, first of all, I have a whole different perspective on it. So please don't judge me on this, but with the coronavirus and all that, if that's the way that I'm meant to go, or we're meant to go, then that's the way we're going to go. Like, that's how we get to like leave this body and this planet at this time. That said, with what was I going to say about that? There was a whole other thing. Anyway.
Being embodied.
Yeah, it's about like, yeah. So the whole thing, thank you.
Yeah.
The whole thing for like, we do teacher trainings. Like, I did a bunch of teacher trainings before I ever like really stepped into teaching the way that I have. It is for us to remember who we are, have the tools to keep remembering who we are, to keep bringing ourselves back into our fabulousness, our truth, our power, our confidence. Like, that's who we truly are. Like, when we were little babies, we had all the curiosity and courage that was needed to be the rock star, or whatever the thing that it is. Like, so these kind of trainings. So I would love to actually like ask you the next question. And if there's anything you want to say around that and the virus and the frenzy that's happening. Oh, that's another thing. Actually, I just want to add this. like these tools come in handy right now. Like
Right.
this is not for us to like go spinning and spiraling into the negativity of the fear. Yes, we get to know, like, yes, it is actually super important for us to know to take precaution, of course. Like I'm namasteing right now. Like that's how this is my hugs, you know,
Right.
namaste. And it's a different kind of intimacy. It's beautiful. It's about like connecting with the eyes. I'm having like awesome experience with it. Namaste means I truly, my light, my true self sees the true self in you. Like I actually feel like that's even greater of a blessing than a hug.
Right.
So that said, utilize your tools, ladies. Like utilize your tools. Embodiment practice isn't like just for the moments where we're like feeling good and then we want to feel better. It's like for this time right now.
Exactly.
The world is in a frenzy. Stay in the vibration of love.
Yes.
So that like it is the question of like what inspired you to then take it to teaching? Like what you stepped in your confidence, like what inspired you to step into teaching?
I honestly don't even remember. I was just like, I felt like I was good at the practice. I was good at the physical practice because back then I was in my early 20s. That was a little bit more what it was about. And that's just how it was being taught to me at that time. So I don't know, honestly. I was just like, well, I think that this could be my thing. I'm going to give it a try. And like I said, I think that was really one of the first times I listened to my intuition. And the intuition plays a huge part now in my life and with the whole goddess thing. Because that's where your spirit is talking to and your soul is talking to you. And like, that's what I think. And what you're just saying about, staying in the vibration of love, that's super important. Like you said right now. And a way to do that is just to come into alignment, just be quiet. Meditation right now is more important than ever, I think, because the more you can get in alignment, the better your immune system is going to be, the less stress you're going to have. Stress is what weakens our immune system. When you're in alignment, you are not going to be stressed out. So yeah, that's my advice around that, I guess.
Yeah. And with that, like I want to add the breath, right? Like meditation, just going to silence, we could totally hold our breath. But if we don't have the breath, we ain't got nothing. So like you utilize the breath even right now. Let's all take a deep breath in. Feel it go into those pockets that have been holding, that have been reading those articles, that have been watching the news, all of the stuff. Like breathe into your body and your being. You are safe in this moment. You are safe. And regardless, even if we have whatever flu or whatever thing, we are safe. We still get to breathe. Even if we're on our deathbed, we still get to breathe and remember who we truly are. So that's where we can get caught up in the river, like this fast moving river of unconsciousness. And what we could choose is to be in the river of our own breath, which can slow it down, or we could go with that river of unconsciousness, or we could bring ourselves into that breath, taking it into the deep center of our truth, letting it touch there, and then exhaling. Like just feel that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
What makes your trainings unique? Because there's so many trainings out there.
Yeah.
I want to hear, what makes your unique training?
Well, the first one is the confidence, right? And because you were saying something earlier and it reminded me, and I'm glad I didn't forget, we don't just wake up with confidence. You don't pray, whatever you're praying for, like, oh, please help me to be more confident. You're not just going to be like, okay, I woke up and today I'm confident. Oh, that prayer worked. You're going to get circumstances and situations that will help you to practice being confident. So every day, if you want to be confident, every day you have to step into something that scares you. You think like 10 years ago, I would have felt confident coming on a live stream like this? No, but I am now because I do it all the freaking time. So it gets easier and easier. And now there's going to be other things that I'm going to have to step into. Yes, I consider myself a confident person, but there's going to be opportunities and things that come my way that are going to be scary to me, like speaking on stage or doing something like that. That's going to be scary, but I'm going to do it. So just really helping my trainees to start practice teaching like right away. So we start practice teaching really early, which they freaking hate.
Yeah.
But at the end, they're like, oh, I'm so glad you made me do that because I'm so much more confident and so much more ready. So that's what I really focus a lot on in my 200-hour programs. But then I just really saw that there was a gap between the 200-hour and a 300-hour training. The 300 hours of training people take to be a 500-hour. I know you know that, but not everybody might.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just really seen that there's a huge gap because you can be a 500-hour teacher and still not be confident, right? So what I really like to tell people to do, and this is why I created my year-long mentorship program, is to take, if you don't feel ready to teach after your 200-hour, maybe you really like me and you're like, I want to learn from her. So then take my mentorship. And then what we do in that mentorship is focus on refining your skills. So things that are normally left out of not normally, but a lot of times are left out of a 200-hour training, such as alignment, sequencing, modifications, how to teach beginners, things like that, cueing. Because that's a really big thing, cueing. You know, people just like, do this or do that. And instead using your voice to get the students into the exact right position. And that's why I'm so good at teaching online. You know, people are like, well, how can you do that online? Well, I've been teaching online for a long time, and I can look at a body and say, you need to move your right hip back. You need to tuck your tailbone under slightly to bring your pelvis into neutral. And then I can do all of that online. I don't have to be there to physically touch you. So yeah, really bringing the people from that 200-hour to a place where they're ready to teach. And then the 300-hour, I don't do 300 hours yet, but that's more of what I consider to be like something where you're really excited about it. Maybe it's a 300-hour like restorative, so that you go learn all about restorative, or maybe it's around trauma or addictions. That's what I really see the 300 as. So that's why I like this year-long mentorship, because also you're not alone. That's something that's missing from so many programs. Okay, you've taken your 200-hour, good luck. You know, but instead, it's like, no, yeah, good luck with that. I'm there to really help and encourage, and not only me, but a community of awesome women that feel a lot like you do. You know, after we have our calls, people are like, oh, I didn't know that other people like had imposter syndrome. I was like, yeah, everybody does.
Everybody does. Oh my gosh. Yes.
But yeah, we've all got it. And once you know that everybody else has it, it makes you feel so much better about yourself.
Yeah, totally. I remember one of my first retreats, at the end of it, we were all in a circle and coming into completion. And I even said, I was like, oh, so glad I tricked you all to being here. You know, like those imposter syndrome totally speaking there. Yeah. You're awesome. And I want to know when your next trainings are coming up. And when you got a training coming up?
So I've got my online yoga teacher training, and that's always open. So the cool thing about that is you work through at your own pace. It'll take about 6 months. You get a module each month, but you work whenever you want, you know, in the mornings or at night, whenever, on the weekends. And so that's really cool to be able to go at your own pace. That's the first module. And that module is really all about the foundations, about philosophy, about myth, about, all of those things, chakra, all of those things that you want to know to deepen your own practice. And then along with that, you also get live calls every 2 times a month. So then you can get on, you can practice your poses, you can learn from other people. And then the second
style, like, do you have a name for the style or anything? Like, not that
I call it intuitive flow.
Okay, gotcha.
What I think intuitive flow is, what that means to me is that it is, you want the practitioner to step at the front of their mat and see what they need from their practice today. Because just what you needed yesterday might not be what you need today. And what you needed 10 years ago from your practice might not be what you need today. So always just coming to your mat and seeing what you need. Now, then the second module is more about teaching others. So again, you're not alone. You've got those bi-monthly calls. And that's really the big thing that I've seen lacking is the support. You know, you don't want to go through an online program and not have anybody to talk to about it or ask questions or get feedback. So yeah. And then I've got the Costa Rica yoga teacher training, of course, in July. I do those every July.
Nice. What part of Costa Rica do you go to?
We do up in Guanacaste. It's near a town called Samara, which is my favorite town in Costa Rica. I've been there. This will be my 7th or 8th time in Costa Rica.
Cool.
Yeah, we went there
Wow.
first for our honeymoon. So
Oh, you're like, okay, I'm gonna keep on coming back here. I'm
yeah,
gonna bring
now my
my
husband's like,
yogis.
oh, bye. I get to go to, I'm
Yeah.
like, well, hey, you should
You're
have
like,
made
I'm
your
going on
job.
honeymoon again.
Yeah, you should have made your job something where you get to go to Costa Rica every year. I don't know. I made it happen, so you can figure it out.
That's
Yeah.
funny. Oh my gosh.
And then with my mentorship program, people can join anytime throughout the year. So they get a private
Can they
Facebook
find
group.
that at yogagoddessacademy.com?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great. That's awesome. I've actually never heard of an ongoing yoga teacher training. I
Yeah.
love that. What a
Yeah.
blessing. And like I've said, I've taken quite a few yoga teacher trainings. I've been now teaching for over 20 years, but at the beginning, I kind of started teaching without a training first, and then deepened my practice and deepened my knowledge. And that's really important to do that. Because you want to be embodied in it. If that's something that you're drawn to, you're drawn to teaching yoga, you've been to classes and you've thought, I might want to do that. Yeah, check out Yoga Goddess Academy. Crystal's an incredible teacher, and that's why I wanted to bring her on today and share her with you. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us? Anything else?
I guess it's just to really listen to, if the coronavirus can tell us anything right now, it is that we need to listen to that voice is telling us why we're here. What are you here for? And are you doing that thing? And I think that the people that maybe are the most fearful are the people that maybe aren't doing that. I don't know. I'm not going to pigeonhole everybody, but to me, like I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing on this planet. So I'm a lot less fearful of death now, and things like that, because I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So I guess my last tip would just be to listen to your intuition and to go for it, because it's telling you for a reason, and it wouldn't even be in your head if you couldn't do it. And then find a supportive community that can help you to get there, one that you really resonate with. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. One of the things that you just said is you are so in your purpose. And that's one of the reasons, like, if you died or if you left the planet right now, like, you don't have any remorse. I literally just had that experience the other day, because I was like, okay, there's a frenzy going on. Everybody's like, we're going to die, the coronavirus. Yeah. And I totally get that. It's like, just at the beginning, it might get worse before it gets better. I get all of that. And I literally tapped in with myself and I was like, oh, I'm good. Like, I feel like I've done incredible work. I've been living my purpose.
Yeah.
I have nothing else. Like, I don't need to stay here if it's my time.
Right.
So there was like a moment of like, it's okay, right? Like, it's awesome. I've been living my life. So for you ladies, women out there who have not stepped in fully to your purpose, let us serve you. Like, Crystal, if you have like a desire to teach yoga, to step into your confidence that way, get onto Yoga Goddess Academy. If you are drawn to the embodied pathway and you want me to serve you, like, you know where to find me, DM me, message me, Embody Sisterhood, all of it. We are here for you to have the same feeling of like, it's okay. We're done. We're good. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing yourself, your light, love, your power, your commitment to other women finding their confidence through teaching yoga and stepping into their power in that way. Awesome, Crystal. Thank you so much.
What you do as well.
Oh, thank you. So much love to you. Stay close, everybody. If you've got questions for myself or Crystal, you can find us. I've tagged Crystal here, so you can find her and find me. And I love you. We love you. Bye.